My name is Eli Nathans. I'm a member of the Washtenaw County Democratic Party Programs Committee, and I'm going to be the host of this Dexter School Board Candidates panel. I'd like to begin the meeting by reading a land acknowledgement, as is normal in Democratic Party meetings. Washtenaw County occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ottawa, Ojibwa, and Potawatomi. The Washtenaw County Democratic Party recognizes historic Indigenous communities in Michigan and those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. Washtenaw County occupies land ceded in the 1807 Treaty of Detroit. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous history and experiences. Thank you. Although the sponsor of this meeting is a partisan organization, the Washtenaw County Democratic Party, the race is nonpartisan, and we invited all candidates. We didn't ask what party membership was. The meeting, of course, is open to the public. We're not vetting who can attend, who can ask questions. The meeting is being recorded, and the video will be posted on various places, including the Washtenaw County Democratic Party's website, and it will be accessible to everyone who wants to see it. I ask that you please keep your mic off during the meeting when you are not speaking. That prevents disturbing noises from kind of interfering with the discussion. And that you may also wish to keep your video off because it also prevents freezing from taking place in the meeting. And now I'd like to introduce the moderator for this evening. John Heuser is an English teacher at Dexter High School and vice president of the Dexter Education Association. John, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Eli, and thank you for organizing the forum, and thanks to the Washtenaw County Democratic Party for giving the Dexter Board of Education candidates an opportunity to let voters know more about them and their goals for Dexter schools. One of the primary reasons families choose to move to Dexter is because of our strong schools. So I wanted to make sure to express my appreciation to our three candidates tonight for their willingness to commit significant time and energy to the important task of guiding Dexter Community Schools into the future. Our candidates are Mike Cipolla, Dawn Gilbert, and Amy Reiser. In a moment, each of the candidates will have an opportunity to introduce themselves and speak about their goals as a Board of Education member. We'll begin in alphabetical order by a last name. The candidates have also had a chance to look over a few questions ahead of time that I will ask. Audience questions, of course, are welcomed and appreciated. And as a reminder, each candidate will have 2 minutes to speak per question. So with that, let us begin. I'd like each of you to tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you'd like to help Dexter Community Schools achieve. And Mike, we will start with you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Heuser, for moderating this evening. My name is Mike Cipolla. I'm running for a 6-year term on the Dexter Board of Education. I'm deeply committed to the success and well-being of our students, as well as our school district's overall stability and continued improvement. My wife, Dana, and I moved to Dexter in 2008 from North Carolina. I have a career background in architectural design, specializing in multifamily housing and restaurant design. My wife is a professor at the University of Michigan School of Public Health. We have 2 sons in the district, a junior and a freshman entering Dexter High School. They have both attended Dexter schools from young 5s until now. Over the years, as a parent, dedicated school volunteer, and an active member of the community, I have discovered a strong sense of purpose in supporting our schools. In 2017, I joined the Educational Foundation of Dexter, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing financial support to the district for programs and initiatives that would go otherwise unfunded from the state budget. I'm honored to be part of this remarkable organization. Over the past 5 years, EFD has awarded over $325,000 in grants to teachers in the district, fulfilling the foundation's mission of promoting excellence in education right here in Dexter. Throughout my time on the board, including the past 2 years as its president, I've built meaningful relationships with parents, teachers, administrators, and district staff. I've gained firsthand knowledge into the challenges and opportunities our schools encounter. And with this knowledge, I'm ready to work to ensure our schools provide the necessary resources and support for all students to thrive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And then we will go to Don. Don? Don, are you ready for your opening statement? It looks like you're muted right now.
Let's see.
Yeah, you're still muted, Don. Nathan or Eli, can you unmute Don? There we go.
Okay, is that better? Okay, thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Dawn Gilbert and I'm married to Daniel Gilbert. We have 3 children in the Dexter schools that have attended and have graduated. We had Amanda, Danny, and Adam. We've been in the community for 24 years as a family in the Dexter schools. It was a great move. We moved from Ann Arbor, which was amazing experience to be a part of Dexter. I've been active with the Dexter schools. I was on the band boosters for 8 years as a VP. I went on many trips and many band camps for 8 years. We went to Disney and we also went to New York. I also have been involved in football, wrestling, track and field, and powerlifting. And we've always been able to volunteer and give back because it's just a great organization to be able to give back in the community. I also worked for the schools for a short time. I worked there for a couple years as a para in the schools, which I enjoyed too, because I enjoy working with special needs children that need extra help. With my child, he has a difficulty at times, which I was able to go back and help, and I also have done many volunteers. I was also on the principal election to elect Ryan Bruder as principal. I was on that committee also. I'm currently on the bicentennial committee, we just celebrated our 200th anniversary, which we had a wonderful carnival. Also, I will be joining the steering bond committee. They invited me to come to. Oh, okay. I just heard the buzzer. I always like to volunteer. I like to volunteer for home games for the football. My goals are to continue to support the Dexter schools, which now I have the time because I've had 3 kids that have graduated, which I want to give back to the community. I also like to promote students and develop themselves to be to their best ability. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Don. And Amy, if you're ready, we can hear from you.
I'm ready. Thank you. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Amy Reiser, and I'm one of the candidates for school board. I am an attorney, and I've been practicing since 1998. I work at the prosecutor's office, so I have dedicated my career to public service. I worked in the head of our special victims unit, so I handle sexual assault and child abuse cases. Some of the community work that I do outside of the career that I have, I served on the Educational Foundation of Dexter, so worked closely with Mike and raising money outside of the school district to help grants for teachers and to give back to the students. I also serve on the Sex Education Advisory Board, and we've met over the last school year to provide input to the Board of Education regarding Dexter's sex education curriculum. And that's been a great opportunity. And I think with my line of work, it's helpful to bring that information to the teaching that's going to be done to our students. We moved to Dexter in 2012 when my son was just 2 years old. And one of the reasons that we moved to Dexter was because of the great reputation of the school district. So we now have my son, who is 14 and is entering the high school. And my daughter is going into 6th grade. So we have 2 children that are currently in the school district. And I've been nothing but impressed with the staff, the teachers, and everything about the school. My husband coaches 8th grade track and field and cross country, and both of my kids, well, my daughter not yet, but she will. My son has participated in the middle school sports, and both of my children are in orchestra. I've been so pleased with the programming, the music programming. And so one of the things that I want to do on the board is continue the great reputation of the school district. I mean, it's a great school district. I think I have a lot to bring to the table in terms of helping the board and communicating with the superintendent and the school and the teachers and the staff. So that's a little bit about me. I think, I also serve on the Washtenaw 100. I'm the outgoing president. I've been on that board for several years, and that recognizes law enforcement officers and firefighters in Washtenaw County. If there's a line of duty death, that's the main purpose of our organization. But we also provide grants to students if their parent is a law enforcement officer or a firefighter. So I have a lot of community experience, and we love Dexter. My husband works at the Ace Hardware, and so really looking forward to this campaign and looking forward to an opportunity to serve on the board.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Amy, Mike, and Don. And what I'd like to do is get into a few questions next. And I did provide each of you with the questions that I'll ask at a time, just so you could give some thought to them. And so I and the audience, I'm sure, look forward to hearing your responses. So Don, we'll start with you for this first question. And the question that I would like to ask you all first, I think it was in the order that you received them. For a variety of reasons, Dexter's student population remains about 200 students below pre-pandemic levels. And while funding from the state has helped offset financial losses due to the drop in students, there's no guarantee that these increases will continue. And so my question for you really is, what ideas do you have about ways Dexter schools can try to remain financially strong despite these potential economic challenges? And Don, we'll start with you, and we'll go to Amy, and then we'll finish with Mike.
Okay, I do know that in the recent past declines in the students' population, many students began to turn around. The new development of the Jackson Road condominiums right there on Jackson Road, that's going to bring about 450 families into the community, which I believe would be amazing, because that's what we need. That'll give us a nice boost. So that's going to help our school district. Also, I know that the best way to continue to address our financial economic challenges is through bonds and grants that are helpful. Both are proven ways to support our school districts. Additionally, we need to promote safety in our schools for the district, make it appealing for families who are looking for a place to live, because that's what Dan and I, when we came here 24 years ago, it was the schools, because the reputation, because we wanted to raise our family here. Also to supporting for the sports events and competitions and school functions, let them know how great we are. Because look at the football team, how for years when Amanda was in school, we were losing every game. We were going there to support the band. Now it's like a nice complete turnaround. I mean, we're winning. This is exciting. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, great. Thank you, Don. Amy, what about you? How would you respond to that question?
I think the main thing is you need to make it an attractive community for parents with school-age children. So you want to increase the funding based on the number of students that attend here. You want to attract families that have school-age children, and whether that be through new development, new housing development, or just really engaging with the community. Some of the things that Dawn said, just making it a great community to come and live. And I think that all of us can attest to that we moved here because of the schools and because it's a great community. It's safe. And I think that's one way to do it. I mean, the least, the way that you don't want to look at, but if you had to, I think the school board would be tasked with this is a budget. You have to look at a budget. If you're not getting the per pupil funding, you need to look at your budget and make sure that you're not spending money on things that don't need to be spent on, and things of that nature. But I think the biggest thing is you could also look at attracting a school of choice, students who don't live in the community. Maybe families can't afford to live here, but want to send their children here. So I think that the big thing is making it a great school district, a great community, and want families coming here.
Great. Thank you very much. And then Mike, what thoughts do you have?
Oh, some thoughts I have include while these numbers, they're obviously pre-pandemic levels here in Dexter, it's important to note that we're not alone in this enrollment crisis. It's happening all over the country with public education. Some students have gone to charter schools, some have gone to private schools, some are homeschooled, some have moved out of the area. Statistics show that Michigan is losing students to other states. But you know, it's a part of a longer term trend that involves things that like lower birth rates. All those things are combined into this change in patterns of immigration and demographic patterns. So it's simply, the pandemic simply brought it to the forefront, I think, of everybody's mind. Dexter has the advantage of its proximity to Ann Arbor, and more importantly, the University of Michigan. People look to settle near the university for many reasons, including ourselves. This is the reason why we're here. The university offers obviously employment, education, economic opportunities, and diversity that other parts of the state does not have. So those are all great things working in Dexter's favor. Like Dawn alluded to, there's several developments, Woodroot Commons on Baker, that are going to bring in some more students as well. Woodside Acres, if they ever get that built north of Dexter, should be a plus for student enrollment. But the best way for Dexter schools to remain financially solid is to continue to improve on and excel in areas that parents are looking for. Branding might be the single most important concept that come out of this school of choice debate. Private schools understand the importance and the power of marketing their schools. And unfortunately, public education has lacked in that aspect. So maybe if we can get some more PR and marketing, maybe, you know, focus on what draws people to Dexter, that's really where we need to focus.
Sure, great. Thank you. Thank you all for your responses. There were some nice ideas there. So let's go to our second question. And Amy, we'll begin with you. And this one has to do with the education profession. And before this meeting started, I was talking a little bit with Eli, and Dawn was on just about some of the challenges of hiring and retaining really good teachers. And you know, I think as all of you probably know, the number of teachers retiring or leaving the profession is outpacing those becoming teachers. And as a result, it's increasingly difficult to hire and retain high quality educators. From your perspective, what do you think Dexter can do to support its current teaching staff while continuing to be an appealing district for teachers entering the profession or coming from another district? And Amy, why don't you begin?
I mean, I think one of the things that has to be done is you sort of have to take care of the teachers that are here right now. The ones that are not retiring and ending, you know, into retirement, their career, they need a robust package to stay. I mean, it's a really tough profession. We're having a hard time retaining teachers. So what first do we need to do to keep the teachers here? Is it they need a better healthcare package? That's something that the board can look at. And what then do you want to do to attract the new teachers? I think you have to have again, similar to like attracting students and families to come to the district, you have to have a school district where teachers want to work, where they're taken care of, where it's a good working environment. The class sizes are preferable. Nobody, I'm presuming, wants to come to a district where you're teaching 50 students in a class and it's an unsafe environment. So you need to look at all of those things, keeping the class sizes, keeping their retention policy to keep the teachers that come to the district. I think you have some teachers that don't live in the district. Maybe they can't afford to live here, but you still want those teachers to come and teach here and be a part of the community. Are they involved in athletics? What can we do for the teachers? And so I think that's the main thing I would do is look at their retirement package for new incoming teachers. It may not be as great as that for outgoing teachers. We're sort of looking at the same thing in county government. We can't retain attorneys at the prosecutor's level. We had a pension plan when I started, but that's not the same for the new attorneys coming in. So just kind of looking at some of those things. What is attractive for teachers? Do we need to get out to the fairs where they're graduating from and tell them how great the district is and attract them to come?
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Amy. And Mike, let's go to you.
Okay. Dexter's teachers are the single most important school-related factor in student success. hiring and keeping high quality educators is so important to our district. Dexter does offer competitive compensation. In fact, we just adopted a new contract with the teachers union, as you know, John, and also several of our support unions as well, that have pay increases and additional benefits included. Starting pay was increased as well. So hopefully this will have a positive impact on new hires coming in. Also, we need to continue to invest in professional development of our staff. The district needs to continue to show confidence in Dexter's teachers for the long term and demonstrate that they're valued. Maybe we can make use of the Michigan's Grow Your Own personnel grant program. I don't know if Dexter's Board of Ed knows about this now. The state offers up to $10,000 to support non-certified employees to become teachers, or currently certified teachers that looks to add an endorsement to their teaching certificate. That's free money from the state if we apply for it. Dexter should help or should work at developing partnerships with local universities and colleges to build the pipelines to bring teachers into our district. They haven't already done. Districts are building pipelines within as well. Grand Rapids is looking at creating middle and high school teacher preparation clubs for students interested in teaching. Dexter could consider creating academies to give high school students a deeper introduction to the teaching profession. Try to kind of build it from within. Such programs exist in Chippewa Valley schools, where high school students at Dakota and Chippewa Valley take a year-long class, teacher cadet class. That's part of the district's career vocational technical program. Overall, a district can no longer expect teacher candidates just to come to us. There's too many options and too many vacancies out there in other places, and we have to do things differently. We have to give teachers reasons to come to Dexter.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. And then Dawn, what thoughts do you have about our teachers and being able to keep our teaching staff strong and full, as we know is very important?
I know we're very fortunate to live in such a great school system. I agree with Amy and Mike both. They both have some good ideas out there. So my thoughts are too is teacher re-increment. Retention begins with supporting our teachers, because our teachers really need our support, not only as parents, but also from students too. Not always going to a monetary incentive, but with support of the classroom, promoting people to volunteer, because I was a parent volunteer for many years. I mean, every Friday was going in the classroom to read, which I know was so important to the teachers because they need that support from parents to buy in to help them to do their job. Foster an atmosphere to engage, to learn, to grow the development of our students. For an example, they want to join by listening. Current teachers, we can build on their strengths to overcome this weakness, because I do believe we have amazing school system. It's basically what I have.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next question that I was hoping to get into a little bit, and this is one of the reasons why being a school board member has become even more challenging in recent years, is that boards around the country have been sort of ground zero for community conflict, whether it's regarding mask mandates during COVID, DEI issues, questions around bathroom access, curriculum. Those things have all come to the forefront, often in front of school boards and school board members. So my question to each of you would be, as a school board member, how would you address enforcement of non-discrimination policy, ensure respect for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also help protect rights of students and staff to freely express themselves? And then, Mike, we will begin with you with this question.
Okay, thanks for this question. We've all seen the news reports and video clips of student or school board meetings across the country. You might even have been to one that's been confrontational. Like many others, I care a lot about my child's education. Parents should always be able to communicate openly with the individuals we elect to represent us, but they need to do it with respect and consideration. Even at times in disagreement, it's essential to prioritize the well-being of the students in making decisions. School board members should carefully consider the broader impact of their choices on the entire school community. rather than just their own children. In a free and open society where everyone has a right to express themselves, it's important to be open to viewpoints that may challenge or even discomfort us at times. Embracing diverse viewpoints is essential to growth and mutual understanding. Silencing opposition only makes division between us. I've always looked at things from a building perspective. Maybe it's just my upbringing, but to use a construction metaphor, I'm always willing to construct bridges and not walls. When we start talking to others that have different views, that's when the foundations of walls are formed. If left, they continue to grow higher and stronger. In the end, when dealing with someone who disagrees with me, I start by listening for understanding, not to respond to them. That way I truly get a focus of where they're coming from. In return, I attempt to speak to an explanation, not to persuade somebody. This allows for a agree to disagree moment and mutual respect. As far as the enforcement of non-discriminatory policy here in Dexter, I would continue to uphold the current policy of non-discriminatory based on any legally protected category. Dexter must remain a district where every student feels safe and welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. And then Dawn, if you would answer the same question, that would be great.
Okay. Addressing enforcement of the non-discrimination policy and ensure respect. I think respect is very, very important. As a school district, we need to foster a community worldview of respect, and not just from the teachers, but from the students also and the parents. Because, as you know, our kids are a reflection of us. Our students need to feel safe and need to be supported by the school system and parents' entire community. We're heading in the right direction, and I will help in any way that I can personally to keep this going. There should be a zero tolerance for bullying and violence. It comes down to whether it's the code of conduct, and that's found in the Dexter School Manual. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. And then Amy?
Thank you. I think the most important thing is the safety of our students, and I totally uphold all non-discriminatory policies of the school. And I think when you look at these areas, one thing for me, as a prosecutor and going to court every day and dealing with criminal defendants and victims, is everybody has a very, very strong opinion one way or the other. And I like to sort of just go back to the basics, is we're all human beings. We have teachers who are working with students, and our main goal is to keep them safe. If there's a hot button issue, I want to hear both sides of that. I want to hear from the community. I want to know from the parents. I want to hear from my members on the school board. And I think we can do that in a respectful way and keep our students safe and make sure that everyone feels included in the school district. So those would be my goals and sort of my philosophies as a school board member.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks to each of you. And again, this goes to thanking you in advance for being willing to do a job that is oftentimes challenging and sometimes is a little bit thankless, but I know it's a super important job as you do as well. Okay, let's move to another question. And Dawn, you are going to lead off this next one if that is okay with you. This one connects with actually learning loss, post-pandemic, and among your families with your own children, you may have seen some of this as well. And in the classroom, I see it and have kind of seen it for the last few years. But we know in our district and virtually every other district, learning loss is still a concern. For example, in Dexter, MSTEP math scores remain below those from before COVID. So given that knowledge, what are some steps that you think the district and Dexter families can take in order to promote higher levels of learning among students? And then Dawn, why don't you, if you would, lead us off with that question?
Okay. I know many of our students, and I had one student, I have my son that had a difficulty during COVID time, that he really had a hard time during when they had to do the Zoom. My other son, on the other hand, had no problem because he was able to do it. So I just really feel like that many students had really actually had a hard time during this lockdown. and of distance of learning, our teachers are adapting. I mean, they're learning too. How are they? I mean, for example, my one son was in band. How do you teach a student how to play an instrument through Zoom? Dr. Moore, however, did an amazing job. That's just an example. Did an amazing job. They were all able to still perform and do everything they needed to do. But I'm just saying, it was just made it more challenging even for the teachers because we lived through this COVID. It was really sad because it couldn't. I mean, it was just bad timing for everything. My one son, Adam, honestly did not even get a chance to finish middle school. He went right to the high school. So there's no transition during that period, which I was really difficult for him to start the high school. I mean, I was just using them as an example because I just know that was a hard transition period. I think sometimes if we can maybe get like maybe tutoring or techniques to help, students maybe catch up like on a one-to-one basis. If we see a student struggling, maybe there might be a student out there that might be excelling in one area. Maybe they can do like the cadet program or like take them under their wing and say, here, I can help you with your difficulty. Maybe it can help them learn too. Those are just some suggestions that I had that because we can all overcome these difficulties because I do work in the health field and I do know that we can overcome this because we've overcome a lot of these issues already. I mean, because we are getting back on track. So.
Okay, great. Thank you, Don. And then Amy, what thoughts do you have about sort of how to address the learning loss and get students back to where I think, teacher parents themselves would probably like to be with some of their learning?
Sure. I think I would like to sort of expand on some of the things that the district is already doing. They identified when my daughter came back to school, a group of students that were not really proficient in math. And so we received a letter this end of this school year regarding the math scores, and they were offering some additional tutoring over the summer for those students. And I think programs like this, just sort of identifying the students that are sort of failing or falling at the lower level of achievement for math, reading, whatever it may be, and just sort of instituting that to the ability that the district has, whether it's through tutoring, whether it's through additional teaching, whether it's through different classes. I think we just need to be more robust in that, whether that needs an additional teacher, an additional program, or monies. That's sort of what I would look at, is taking those students that are at the bottom of the performance level and just finding ways to help them sort of recover from what presumably was lost during COVID.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. And then Mike, what ideas do you have about the learning loss question?
Well, there's no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic and the switch to virtual learning and then hybrid in-class instruction we implemented here in Dexter affected students, as it did everywhere in the country. There's simply no substitute for in-class dedicated educator with our students. During the period of virtual learning, students also lost the benefit of their peer groups. There was no way for them to gauge how well they were doing compared to other students. So this is a powerful metric that was lost during COVID. I don't think anybody really talks about that much. Some of the ways I would remedy this would be the high impact tutoring. And I know Dexter has done some of this. From years of research, we know that high impact tutoring, high quality tutoring can significantly change the outcomes of students struggling academically. Tutoring is something that middle and upper income families do. But it needs to be something that's available to everybody at any level of income. One-on-one and small groups integrated into the school day would be something that we could look at. I know Dexter has already been spending some of their ESSER dollars on this, and the challenge will be how to sustain it as those funds dry up this year, how to scale those efforts once the funds go away, and how do we continue those helpful programs. Another thing would be professional development. Throughout the pandemic, teachers were asked to juggle different roles, balancing educator, mental health professional, technology person. Providing them with quality professional development and support is another option to mediate the learning loss. The better they can do their jobs, is the faster we can recoup the learning loss from COVID.
Thank you very much for your response. Good. And then we'll go to Amy to start off our next question. And this kind of gets a little bit more broadly at what you see as sort of the pluses and some of the things that Dexter can get a little better at and things maybe you'd like to see in the district. So Eli, if maybe we could have a little bit more grace on this one, because I feel like people's responses might go a little longer than 2 minutes for this. That'd be great. And again, the question kind of is, what are the biggest strengths from your perspective of our school system? And then where do you see areas that we can improve? And then, what suggestions might you have for moving in that direction of improvement? And then Amy, why don't you be our first to respond, if that's okay with you?
Sure.
I'll put 3 minutes instead of
Okay.
2.
2 minutes. Okay.
Thank you, Eli.
So I think, and I'm going to speak a little bit from personal experience. I mean, the strongest quality of our school district is the teachers. It's the teaching staff. And we learned that firsthand with my son in elementary school and having to go through the process with an IEP. And just how quickly the district and the teaching staff recognized that there was a deficiency. And so every step that we have been, and he's entering into 9th grade, has been nothing less than professional. They recognize the shortcomings. We did have a professional assessment of him done, and he had a mild form of dyslexia. So I think that that is one of our strongest points of this school district. And my daughter, when she was in elementary school, integrating students with disabilities in with the regular students has been amazing. And the work that is done that I've seen through EFD for students with disabilities, it just amazes me every day. And so I think that's one of the strongest parts of our school district. And I hope that we can continue to grow on that and recognize that. I feel like maybe one of our shortcomings and something that we could work on is just increasing the staff. I feel like all of the teachers are quite frankly overworked, and they have a lot of students to care for, and they're doing a great job. And the staff and even the staff that transport our kids to and from school every day, I feel like everybody's just kind of like overworked and sort of there's not enough. And so one of the, I guess, downfalls of our school district, and I think it's one of the questions that we talked about earlier, is every school district is facing is a shortage in teachers and a shortage in staff, a shortage in bus drivers. So what can we do as a district to increase that? So the strain is not on our teachers and our administrative staff and our busing staff, so that everybody kind of is in a good mood when they're coming into contact with the kids and they're not stressed out. And that's sort of like a downfall, but something that I think we can continue to grow and recognize and work on. But I think overall it's a great school district. I think the teachers are great. The staff is great. The coaching sports programs are just nothing short of amazing. So those are my thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses of our district.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Amy. And then Mike, if you respond to that same question, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John. Yeah, to play off of what Amy just said, the biggest strength of our district is obviously our teachers. Getting to know many of them over the years, I've come to trust and admire them as the true professionals that they are. Without the teachers, most importantly, their dedication to our children, Dexter would not be the district that it is. I also believe the makeup of our physical campus is worth noting here, something people don't often talk about. Having the children move through the buildings in 2 grade groups is fairly, uncommon in public education. But as my boys progressed through the grade levels, they had to learn to navigate new surroundings and trust new teachers and principals. So I believe that really helped them develop a sense of self-confidence faster than in the school where would be, 1 or 2 buildings and they would be out of school. Dexter continues to provide students with ample ways to express themselves in healthy ways. We have so many clubs, sports teams, and extracurricular activities available here. There's simply something for everybody. And, participation in these activities helps the community identify with their schools. Just attend a high school musical or a football game or robotics competition, and you understand what I mean. Dexter can improve the engagement with parents through perhaps a yearly perception data survey. It would be something as simple as 2 or 3 priorities that the district wants feedback on from parents. Create a short survey that asks for key feedback in these areas, and then follow up with the results and some steps so family members know that their voices are heard. Those are things that there's communication from the district. Continue to embrace and champion professional learning communities. I don't think the public even knows what those are. They don't know what the teachers have at their disposal inside the schools. Just communication on those. They're focus driven, and they help the teachers make good decisions and identify more instructive strategies to improve their schools and the outcomes. So teachers working together with administrators can do amazing things, and so that's some of the benefits that I see in the weaknesses too.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. And then Don, what are some thoughts that you have about strengths and maybe areas that you could see a little bit of improvement for Dexter?
Well, the biggest strength is a good financial system. Community supports strong leadership, and our teachers and district is in the top 10% in the state. I mean, we do stand out there, which is really very nice. I mean, just like when we have the homecoming parade, it's just very encouraging as a parent to see your child on that float. That's just like an exciting time. When the whole community comes together and sits there on Main Street, we always sit right by Ace. We're always there watching our child come down the parade. It's just very exciting. I just think those are a lot of nice strengths, and just having that hometown feeling is really exciting for our schools and everyone coming together. I mean, we can always improve on our test scores. I do know that our test scores do fall in those areas. But there's nothing that can't be changed, with the proper tutoring and getting parents involved and others involved in doing that. I know Dexter is just a really nice community to grow and raise your family in. I just can't say enough. We do have a lot of good strengths. Like I said, example too, and I don't want to elaborate too much, but it's just like when we had the tornado back in 2015, how the whole community came together. I mean, our house here on Wiley was in our backyard. I mean, we had police officers that patrolled our areas and just took care of us, so we were safe. And there was no one passed away, which was amazing, because it touched all of our lives for a different perspective. So I'm just saying, as a community, Dexter, I mean, even Dr. Timmis had opened up the schools for family that needed to have shelter. I mean, that was an amazing experience itself. So I just think we have a lot of strengths that we need to be credited for.
Okay, great. Thank you all. And then I wanted to just give the audience members, we do have a couple of people who are with us as audience members tonight, and I know many people will probably view this after the fact as a recording, but are there questions from the audience that you all would like to have an opportunity to ask our candidates right now? If so, you can either put a question in the chat or raise your hand using the React button. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. Eli, are you seeing a question that maybe I am not seeing?
I am not. You would see what I see.
Okay.
So
very good. Well, I've got another question that I'm curious about, and then I think we'll be at about the time for wrapping up with a concluding statement, and we'll be done. This has been really informative. So Mike, let's go to you as the first responder for the next question. And our superintendent, Dr. Timmis, has led the district for 11 years now, and he has 3 years remaining on his current contract. And if he were to leave the district at the end of the 2026-27 school year, what qualities do you believe would be most important for his successor to possess?
Sure. Excuse me. This task is by far the most significant work to be done by a school of a Board of Education trustee. The choice of a superintendent sets up the district for long-term success, or it could lead it down a path of declining enrollment, unsatisfied teachers and staff, and most tragically, poor student achievement. The superintendent is responsible for leading the district in achieving its goals, so they must understand the expectations of the board as detailed in our mission, in our course, our vision statements, and core values and strategic priorities. I believe having experience with building partnerships with other pillars of the community, including business and government, is very important. No school can function without the support of the community it serves. He or she should act as a institutional leader who uses defined autonomy as the leadership concept. I think that's probably what Dr. Timmis's concept is. In basic terms, it's about empowering the leaders who report to you to take ownership of their school, their department or their school, and use their judgment to follow through on the vision and goals that have led, that you've laid out for them. As a school district, defined autonomy requires close collaboration between the superintendent and the principals. It's the superintendent's role to set firm expectations and provide principals with the right resources to support this mission. I believe effective communication in various stakeholders, proficient management of the district, and openness to diverse viewpoints are all important metrics that would need to be filled in search for a new superintendent when and if that is necessary.
Okay, thank you, Don. What would you like to say with regard to, a superintendent, should you be in position to hire one, if and when Dr. Timmis was to leave the district?
Well, Dr. Timmis has definitely shown a great example. Our leadership has greatly increased with the superintendent, with Dr. Timmis. He has been coming back for the past years, he's been doing an amazing job with that. I mean, those are going to be just hard shoes to fill. I just feel like he's already given us an example what he can do. And I just feel like that if we brought another person on board, that what we need to do is have them maybe shadow him to see what he does in the schools. I mean, he always puts the children first, which is very obvious. He also puts the families first. I mean, the teachers, he puts them first. I mean, he's always like looking at the whole picture, the teachers, the students, the families. I mean, he does a really great job doing that organization, keeping that fine balance, which is very, very important. I just feel like that lead by example. I mean, Dr. Timmis is like going to be just hard shoes to fill. I can't express enough. Just like he's shown us qualities, strong leadership, outreaches. I mean, it would be just very difficult. I don't mean to repeat myself, but it'd just be very difficult to find such a individual that would fill those shoes. Like I said, he's done a good example. He's always treated all the kids with respect. He's at every event. I mean, he's at wrestling, he's at football. He's always on those fields on Friday night, encouraging the kids. And that's what we would want too, for someone to continue on with that same leadership and example, because kids look up to that. I mean, he shook my sons, both of my sons and my daughter when they graduated. I mean, that really meant a lot to Adam and Danny. I mean, like, he really showed ownership, like, I'm here for you. I mean, he's there at every event. I just think that's important as a superintendent to continue in that right direction, showing that you care, because kids really love the attention. So
good. Okay, thank you very much, Don. And then Amy, how would you respond to that question?
I mean, I would definitely echo what Don said. Dr. Timmis has done an amazing job, particularly through the pandemic, when you're making some decisions that aren't popular among parents and teachers and students. So you really do have some big shoes to fill if he retires and moves on to the next chapter. But qualities, if I were elected to the school board, qualities that I would look for in a next superintendent is someone with leadership skills. I mean, you need to have someone who has leadership skills, who can talk to the students, who can talk to the teachers, who can pick people in management positions that are going to do a good job for him and uphold the reputation of our school, keep the students safe. You want someone with an educational background, obviously, and not someone that's just sort of managed. You want a superintendent that's been a teacher, so he knows what it's like to be a teacher when he's talking and working on those union contract issues with the teachers. You want someone who's been there, kind of had the boots on the ground. So I think it's important in a leader. We want to continue the success of our district and someone who sort of adopts our core values. It'd be great to have someone from this community, sort of young and up and coming, that's been in the district. You don't always get that, but I think there are a lot of qualities, and as a board member, that's what I would look for. Someone who's got a great personality, who can listen to both sides of the issue, and make those tough decisions that are in the best interest of our school district. Those are the qualities that I think make a good leader and make a good superintendent.
Okay. Thank you very much. Not sure why we're echoing. Okay, that's a little better. Good. So that was all the questions that I had for each of you, and thank you for your responses and for giving some very good insights. And I'd like to give each of you now a couple of minutes as we prepare to wrap up to just kind of give concluding statements. Anything that you think is important. Maybe there were things that I didn't get to ask or you didn't get to say that you feel like you'd like to. So for this, let's start with Dawn. And Dawn, feel free to take a couple of minutes to kind of wrap up and share anything else that you would like to share.
Well, I'd like to say, first of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to be able to express our ideas tonight. This has been very nice. I just like to give back to the community because, like I said, they have done so much for my 3 children. They've given them an education that has been amazing. I mean, they're all successful. I mean, Adam is going to be going to college. They're all college, are all well established. And I just wanted to say thank you because without the teachers and the support and even the superintendent, like when there's been times it's been rough, like even during COVID, like, Mom, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, you can do this. And it's been proven. So I just want to give back because I just have 19 years of experience. I've been involved. There's not been, for 10 years, we sat on those bleachers watching the football games. I mean, we were at every sporting event. I mean, I can't express enough. I mean, we're on the band boosters. We got the Roomba for Dr. Moore that he really wanted. I mean, there's been so many, and we had the bake sale extravaganza. I mean, there's just been so many opportunities. So I just feel like now that my 3 kids have graduated, it's been such an amazing experience. And I'd like to just give back and say thank you to show that I want to help too and be there for that young parent or that parent that's coming in the community. Like, I can show you the way because I've been there. So that's my thoughts. But thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dawn. And then Amy?
Sure. I think it would be an honor to serve on the school board. I have a lot, I think, to bring to the table in terms of the career that I've held for the last 25 years as a mom, as a working mom with students in the district. I think I have a great temperament. And so if there are disagreements, I think I would get along well with my fellow board members if elected to the board. And I have a lot to add. I love this community, like Dawn said, and I do want to give back to the school. I want to be involved. I want to have a voice. I want to have a voice for those parents that aren't on the school board, but that may come to the meetings or share things with us. And so it would be an honor. I'm looking forward to the campaign and hope that I do get to give back and serve on the Dexter Community School Board.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. And then Mike.
All right, I get to close this out, I guess. All right, I want to thank Dawn and Amy for joining me tonight and hearing your ideas. I think we're all would be excellent choices. If elected to the school board, I would prioritize transparency, accountability, and collaboration. I will work tirelessly to ensure that the district's policies and decisions are in the best interest of the students, families, and the Dexter community. I believe in open communication and will actively seek input from everybody to make informed and inclusive decisions. Everybody deserves a voice in public education. I realize the challenges ahead are many. Must focus on and invest in closing the COVID-19 learning gaps, the sense of urgency. Our students demand that. We must continue to hire and retain high-quality educators. Our parents demand that. We must ensure and provide a social-emotional learning environment that's so vital to developing students as a whole person, not just academically. The world demands that. We must achieve a smooth transition to a new leadership if and when that is required. Our citizens demand that. I also understand the importance of fiscal responsibility and will advocate for the effective use of district resources, ensuring that every dollar is spent with the utmost consideration to our students' well-being and success. Lastly, I believe the district is well suited when people work together with respect and civility for the greater good. We all have opinions and experiences that make us different. Each one of us is valuable in this district. This diversity of thought, as well as our shared experiences, are what allow us to achieve great things. When we work together, we make Dexter the successful school district that it is. I humbly ask for your support and your vote. Together, we can continue to make Dexter a great place for Dexter Community Schools. Thank you.
Okay, thank each of you, Mike, Don, and Amy, for taking the time tonight and for sharing your thoughts and for providing voters with some more information and ideas from each of you. So I know I appreciate that as a teacher, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you all this evening. And then Eli, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, John. I'll be brief. I also want to thank the panelists, the participants, the candidates for participating in this panel. I thank John Heuser for moderating it. A lot of inside knowledge there helps bring about informed questions. The video should be ready by tomorrow evening, and I will let you all know. And with that, I will close the panel. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone.